Hawaii on Oahu there, and then that's when I got in trouble that time, and they told me I couldn't park on the sidewalk, and I told them I'd already checked with the police department. They said, no, you can park on the sidewalk if you want to. So I told the captain, I said, no, they said I can park on the sidewalk. I don't have to. I can park there. It's not against the law or anything. And he said, no. He says, I'm telling you, you can't park there. And I said, well, the cops said I could park there. So the next week I was on Kure Island.
Not so good of a
Not
captain.
So smart.
Yeah. Well,
not so smart for me.
Yeah. Well.
So anyway, I had to leave my girl in the port and go out to Midway. But that was an experience, I mean, it was only for a year. It wasn't so bad for me, like I said, because I was back and forth and seen a lot of, talk to the women and stuff. They were in the bars, because they all went in the bars too. Their husbands would take them in there. And so I got to talk to them, got to talk to the Navy, and got to fight with the Seabees, and we just had a good old time.
Good old young man's time, right?
Yeah. A lot of pictures, took a lot of pictures and that stuff over there. Midway, my office, and there again, I remember I told you that my motorcycle got stolen by
we got that one. Yeah,
well, out there on Midway,
oh, man.
Believe it or not, there's no cars or anything. There's a few Jeeps and pickups, but everybody rode bicycles. They called them horses, and there was thousands of them. I mean, they were everywhere. There were bike racks everywhere, because that's how you got around on a horse. So naturally, I had my own horse and everything, and I was down at the bar drinking that night, and the next come back out, no bike was there, it was gone. Somebody stole it and everything. So.
Oh, not your motorcycle, they stole your bicycle.
No, this is my bicycle. This is on Midway.
You got your motorcycle stolen and your bike stolen.
Yeah, well, that motorcycle was on Hawaii.
On Hawaii, I got stolen. Yeah.
And then when I was on Midway, I had a horse, and that was my bicycle.
I never heard that story.
And
that's a new one.
There again, you recognize your bike. Everybody knows what your bike looks like.
Right, right.
Even if it's just they're all the same color, you got a dent here, a dent there, whatever, So naturally, a couple of days later, I'm going into the bar, and there's my bike sitting there, on the rack and everything. So I just politely went and got to Shore Patrol and showed them where it was at, and told them that was my bike, because I'd already filled out a theft report on it. Stolen and everything. They got the guy too. They got the guy. He comes out and gets on the bike, and they grabbed that sucker. So he went to the brig too. So.
What was he, a sailor or a Marine?
Sailor, yeah.
So you got a motorcycle stolen by a Marine, and then you got your bicycle or your horse stolen by a sailor.
By a sailor.
Oh man, oh man, oh man.
That was too much, man. Just too much.
Boy, oh boy, you sure do got that Cochron luck, don't you?
There's been some emails back and forth here the last couple of weeks. Max, the guy that we worked in family history center with here, he was in the Coast Guard too, and he's deals with a whole lot of Coast Guard guys and everything. So anyway, he said that he sent Facebook or whatever, and he says, "Okay, Stan," he says, "we got 125 Coasties are praying for you. The next thing, we got 300 Coasties praying for you." Then the next thing you know, there's 550 Coasties are praying for you. He's just different organizations, throughout the country, Coast Guard organizations out there. Well, one of the Facebooks was, one of the guys that was there said he was stationed with me, and when we had our motorcycles on Midway, on Oahu there, and. I remember going to school with a guy. I keep wanting to say it was Phillips or something like that, and I really remember him. He was in my class, and he was a real good friend of Bob Hans, and so.
Was Bob Hans the guy who got the tattoo with you?
No. Bob Hans was the one that lived in. He lives in Corso.
Oh, okay.
PG&E.
Right.
He got out just before I did. He went in just before I did, and then he got out just before I did. And so when he left Hawaii, he took his motorcycle and he had it shipped from Oahu to San Francisco or Oakland, and then they trucked it from Oakland up to Corso up there. He lived up just over Deadwood there, down on the bottom of Deadwood. So now he still he's still in the process of coming home. He hasn't got home yet because he shipped it like a month ahead of time. So he's on his way home and everything. And then lo and behold, they had that big fire up there. That was that great big fire up there at Deadwood that burnt that whole place down up there and everything. Well, when they delivered it, his dad put it in the barn. And it was out in the barn out there. And it was still boxed up and everything, and they couldn't do anything about it. So it burned up in the fire.
Oh, man.
That was too funny.
Now, what was probably the funnest time driving Greyhound? Like the funnest trip you ever got to do or something? Other than getting ready to beat the crud out of that guy who threw that bottle of whiskey at your feet.
The funnest thing I had, I think, was I had I used to do a lot of charter work, and that was when we lived in LA, and they had, because I had worked with scouts and stuff like that, they had asked if I would take a group of Girl Scouts on a charter. And so they were going to go to, what was it, Walter Lance, honey? Was that the name of the guy? I think it was Walter Lance Cartoons or something. His wife and daughter were involved in it. And anyway, they were going to charter the bus, and then we were going to leave. We went to, I picked them up in North Hollywood, and there was like, I don't know, 15, 18 little girls and 4 women, and then one little boy, about, I would say the little boy was maybe 10 or so, 8 or 10, that belonged to one of the women. And I guess she couldn't get a babysitter because it was a week's charter is what it was. And so we went from after I picked them up and everything, we went from there to Barstow, and then we spent the night in Barstow and left first thing the next morning, and we went over to the Grand Canyon, which would be the south rim of the Grand Canyon. And so we parked there, and then we spent the night. We got everything was the camp. I just parked the bus there by the campground, and the girls get their tents and everything out, and we had everything put up, and we had the meals, cooked all the meals and everything. And then I ate with them. I took they said to bring a cot and a sleeping bag, and I ate. They cooked all my meals and everything for me. So because we were getting in places where there was no place to eat. So that first night we're there, and a thunderstorm came. And I don't know, you've been out in the desert in a thunderstorm. I'm telling you, when that lightning hits out there, boy, it is really something. So the way I slept I didn't sleep in the bus. I just slept, I just opened up the baggage bin doors and left them open and put my sleeping bag and slept inside on the bottom of the baggage bins,
Oh, yeah. I remember those things when you pop them open, yeah.
So that thunderstorm hit, boy, and I'm telling you, that lightning hit. And the next thing I know, I got every one of them girls and women in that baggage bin there with me. It just scared the crap out of them. We got up the next morning, and it didn't do any damage. Of course, it's just rain, and the desert just dries up really fast. So anyway, I get them all together and everything, and I get them